Hi guys, welcome to LiveHeats. This is a tutorial for skateboard organizations. In this demo, I'm going to walk through the whole process of logging into LiveHeats, creating an event, setting up an event, logging in as a judge, and running live judging. To get started, go to liveheats.com in your web browser. Once you're there, if you do not yet have an organizer account set up, click on Run Event and Start Free Trial. If you already have an organizer account set up, log in with your account. Once you're logged in as a director of an organization, you're going to land on the director dashboard. This page has an events tab, which will have all of your events, including your completed events. A series tab, which will have your series that you'll be using throughout your time in LiveHeats, like your 2021 Street Series, your 2021 Park Series, etc., etc. In the payments area, you'll go here to connect your bank account to accept registration fees via LiveHeats. You can use our registration feature with payments if your bank account is in one of the 35 countries supported by our payment gateway partner Stripe. To view those countries, click on Learn More to see if you're able to access that feature. The other area, once you're logged in as a director, is the Help Center. The Help Center is your go-to resource for running a competition on LiveHeats. You can use the Setting Up Your Event articles to learn how to set everything up, live scoring to learn everything about live scoring, as well as a range of other useful information across the Help Center. There's also a search function so you can find what you're looking for. So back to the director dashboard. The first thing we'd like to do is to jump in and create our event. To do that, I click on this Create Event button, and then I can type in here the name of my event. So we'll call this Copenhagen Skateboard Champs 2021 Street. In the field that says which series does this event belong to, I can choose the series that it relates to. So in this case, I'll go ahead and choose 2021 Street. If you haven't yet got your series created, you can head to the series area up here to create your series. Next, we'll set the dates of the event. So I might run this Saturday, the 13th of March. Beneath that is our divisions for the event. So this might be the different categories that are included. You'll create your categories once you first set up your very first event on LiveHeats, and then they'll be here for you to choose that are in or out of the competition you're creating. To create a new division, simply click on this button and type in a new division. When we're ready, we can now click Create Event. That creates the event in the system, and it's now going to allow us to move on to the next stage, which is to get our athletes into this particular event. To get our athletes into the event, there's 3 ways for doing this. The first way is to use our registration feature. To access our registration feature, all you have to do is ensure that the event is set to entry open at the top here, which it will be by default. And then you can go ahead and share the public event page link with your athletes so they can go ahead and register themselves into this event. To register for the event, all your athletes will have to do is open up the link that you've sent them, which is the public event link, and they will land on your event on the LiveHeats platform. Then they just click register, and they'll be asked to log into their LiveHeats account or sign up with a new account. I'm just going to create a dummy account for this particular athlete. Once they've created a LiveHeats account, they can now enter their athlete information. Choose a date of birth and the divisions that they'll be competing in. If the athlete is registering multiple people, for example, the parent registering multiple children, they can use the Register Another Athlete button to add more athletes into their registration form. Once they've added all the athletes in, they can put in their contact number and confirm. Once the athletes have registered, if you go back to your event dashboard as a director and reload the screen, we'll now see that we have 2 athletes registered into our event, one in the senior male division and one in the junior male division. You can imagine in a real life competition, you would have all of your athletes registering, and you'd have 10, 20, 30 athletes appearing in each of your divisions in this competition. If you would like to associate payments with your registration, simply go to the event settings and click on the payments tab to activate paid registration. Here you can set prices for people to register. You can set a range of advanced registration rules like maximum number of divisions each athlete can register for, additional paid extras like dinner tickets or hoodie or apparel, as well as free extras like a free t-shirt that's part of their registration. If you have more questions about our paid registration feature, just drop us an email. So once all of your athletes have registered, they'll appear here in your divisions. The second way to get your athletes into a division is to go in and import them or add them directly into their division. To import an athlete, you can use this Import Athletes button at the bottom to upload a CSV file with all of your athletes in one document. If you click on this link here, this will give you an article that explains how to use the CSV upload feature, as well as our CSV template, which you can use to make sure you're uploading the correct format of a file. You can also import athletes into a division directly by just selecting a file that has the athletes for that particular division. The third way to get athletes into your event is to just add them manually into a division. To do that, you would just click on this Add Athlete button at the top, type in their name, and then click on the blue bar at the bottom to create an athlete profile. Once we've imported or added all of our athletes in, or they've registered themselves, we can now get to the next stage, which is setting up our heats. So in this particular example, I have 33 athletes registered. If I would like to remove an athlete that can no longer compete, I can click on this remove button here to scratch them out of this division. The seeding box will show where you put the seed number in if you would like your draw to be seeded. Seeding is useful if you would like to make sure your top athletes are not competing against each other until they reach the final. Once we're happy with all of the athletes on our list and the seed information we've entered, we can go in and set the parameters for this particular division. In this case, we're going to run with 6-person heat size with 50% progression between the rounds. We can also go into the advanced area to set other important settings like the number of runs or rides that each athlete can take in a heat, and then the counting rides or runs that will go to that athlete's total. If you're running an Olympic format for skateboarding, you would want to set these to 4 and 7. And if you go to the Help Center and search for Olympic skateboarding, you'll find an article that explains how to set up that particular format. So in this case, I'm going to leave it on 2 runs with the best 1 run counting. Go ahead and click Save once you've set your division settings up. Once we're happy with our division settings, we're now ready to draw the heats. You can do this in bulk for all of your divisions on the event dashboard, or you can go into your one particular division and draw the heats for that division. So the system has now generated us a bunch of heats for the 32 athletes we had in our draw. We can see we have 6 heats in round 1, moving into some quarterfinals, semi-final, and a final. For skateboarding format, you might like to change the heat draw up a little bit to run it a bit more like your traditional format. So what we might do is delete the quarterfinals, and we might rename round 1 to be qualies. We might say instead of progressing 50%, we're going to progress the top 8 athletes. So we'll say the top 12 athletes into the semis, and then we'll take the top 6 athletes from the semis into the final. Within the heat draw editor, we can also do things like add late entries directly into heats. We can also move athletes around by using the drag and drop feature, or we can delete athletes out. If you ever need to redraw the heats, if you've had new entries or new athletes added to your seed list, you can use the redraw button to regenerate the heat draw. Once we're happy with all of the heat draws we've created across our different divisions, the next step is to set up our schedule. The schedule gives you the running order of your competition. So all of the heats that you've created in each division will appear here. We can adjust this schedule by simply drag and dropping the heats in order. We also might like to change the start times to say instead of 7 a.m. we want to start at 10 a.m. Simply update that by clicking on the top bar at the top. We can add breaks into our schedule. So say, for example, we want to have a break and then resume the competition at 12 p.m. We can simply set a break in our schedule and then drag that into position. So now we can see we're doing the qualies, then we're going to have a break, and then we're going to move into the semis and then the final. The next step is to make this public so our public can jump online and see the heat draw. If we now go to the public event page, we'll see that this Copenhagen Skateboarding Champs 2021 is public. Spectators and athletes can jump in and see the schedule, as well as go in and view each of the individual divisions that are in your event. This page will automatically update throughout your event, so you can send people to this link for access to the live scores. The next step is to get our judges' devices set up. To log in as a judge, you'll want to open up your 3 or 5 different devices and go to LiveHeats.com. A device for judging could be a phone, a tablet, or a laptop, anything with a web browser. Before we log in as a judges, we can go to the event settings and then judging, and we can set the minimum number of judges that will be on our panel. If you're running a panel with 3 judges, you can set this to 3. If you're running a panel of 5 judges, you can set this to 5. If you're dropping the highest and lowest scores for your event, you'll want to ensure that this is check marked. The next step is to log in to our judges' devices. To do this, simply open up the new device and go to liveheats.com. I'm going to pretend that this tab on the right-hand side of my page is a tablet, and I'll pretend that this here is a computer I've got set up for our head judge. The judge simply has to log in with the judge accounts that you are given when your account is created. If you don't have access to your judge account details, simply send us an email and we'll be happy to send you your judge login credentials. Once a judge has logged in, they click on the event that they'll be judging. You'll repeat that process for the 3 or 5 tablets, phones, or laptops that you have set up for your judges. And once they're on a page that says waiting for director to start heat, it means you're all set up and ready to move to the next stage. The next stage is to start judging. The best page to have open for your head judge is the head judge page, which they can access via the side navigation. This will show them the full list of athletes that are in this particular heat, as well as access to the leaderboard, so they can see all of the different athletes across the round and the ranking of each athlete. Once a head judge or director is ready to start the heat, simply click this start button. This will activate the judges' scorecards, and now the head judge and the judge can see a full view of the heat that's underway. The first athlete in our list is George Washington. Once George has taken his first run, the judge simply taps on this plus icon and then they type in their score. Once their score has been typed in, you'll see it automatically appear on the head judge page. The head judge page will show you the average of the score as well as the individual judges' scores beneath that. The head judge will also see their total, which is just their best run, or depending on how many best runs you have set in your division settings, as well as what they require to either win or advance through, and their position in the current heat. The judges can simply continue putting the scores in for all of the different athletes by typing them in. If they make a mistake, they can always go back into a score and edit that, and that will update everywhere. If there's a situation like it did not start or it did not finish, the judge simply clicks on the modifiers, clicks on the did not start button, and then applies it to the run. That will allocate that did not start to that athlete for that particular run. Once they get to the second run of the athletes in this heat, they can then continue punching the scores in. The system will automatically use the settings you have in the division settings to count their top scoring run, which will go into their total. The head judge has complete control over the scores. They can go into any of the scores and make edits of any of the judges. In this demo, there's only one judge putting scores in, but in a real life competition, you'd obviously have your 3 or 5 judges. The head judge page can be accessed from your login as a director, and we can set up your head judge with their own personal login. Just have them register as a director and get in touch with us to make their account a director on your organization. To view the leaderboard for the whole round, click on this leaderboard button. This will bring up the whole ranking of all the athletes in your round, and we'll show you who's in a position to advance through. Once you're happy with the scores that have been entered for all the athletes in this heat, you can click End. This will queue up the next heat in our schedule, and when you're ready, simply press Start to repeat the process for this heat. Judges click on the tap, they put in their scores for both of the runs, and the system will automatically pull out their top scoring run to go into their total. Head judge is constantly reviewing this page to make sure they're happy with the scores and checking the leaderboard, and then once they're happy to end the heat, they can click the End button. We can repeat this process for all of the different heats that we have in this first round. Once we've started and ended all of the heats in the round, we'll then move into the next round in our particular division. If you ever need to go back, simply use the undo button to move back in your schedule, and all the data that you'd previously entered will be there. Once we've started and ended all of the different heats in our first round, if we now come back to this particular division, we'll now see that all of our scores have been entered for the first round and the qualies, and the successful athletes have been moved straight into our semi-finals. When we're ready to start the semi-final, it's the same process. We start the heat, the judges enter the scores, and then when we're ready, we end the heat. We repeat this process over and over again for all of the different heats that we have in our competition, for all of the runs that we have set up in our particular settings. At any time, your spectators and athletes can go to the public event page link to view the live scores. They can also go back to the division to see all of the actual heat scores and results for all of the rounds that you've completed, as well as the leaderboard for each round. Once we've reached the end of our competition, we'll now be able to go ahead and complete the competition. Once our event is complete, we can now go to the series area to update the rankings. To manage the rankings, click on the division that you ran in that particular event, and you'll see the results from our completed event appear here. LiveHeats gives you full control over the rankings points allocation that are applied to each position. And we can view here the draft rankings, which are shaded before they're visible to the public. If we're happy with our ranking after this particular event, we can go into that event and update the event status to results published. When we go back to our ranking now, we'll now see that the shading is gone, which means that this particular division is now public on our public rankings. Once that's done, the next step is to jump back into LiveHeats, go to your events page, and get started by creating your next event. That's it for today. We're really excited to have you using the platform. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us, community@liveheats.com, and we will be happy to help you.